Okay.
Okay.
I'm trying to get this. Okay. Welcome to the Distaff podcast. We are just almost finishing up our season 2, which is hard to believe. And all the children are out of school. It's summer and now it's chaos, but not for me, for you more, Sarah.
We've survived the chaos, and now I think we're into the happy chaos of just summer vacation.
Oh, I
The
love
good
that.
chaos. But
Yeah.
we made it through all the graduation and, all that stuff. So,
And
bring it on.
your nest is getting emptied little
I
by little.
know. I know. Which is good and
Yeah.
bad. That's mixed feelings on it.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
It's interesting because today we're gonna talk about, Gudrid after her big Vinland adventure. She settles down
Mm-hmm.
in Iceland, and she kind of experiences kinda where you're at in your life and where I'm at in my life. She raises her children, and then, um, she kinda has a go to a mountain moment, or she goes on
Yeah.
a big pilgrimage for 3 years. So, but today we left you off with Freydis bearing her breasts and killing
That's
people,
right. That's right.
but they eventually went home. So we're gonna talk a little bit about Gudrun and Karlsefni and their baby Snorri after they left Finland, where they went, what they did, and then her settling to basically settle down in her life and raise her children in Iceland, and see if the prophecies came true for her, and then kind of
Yeah.
just discuss that part of her life
Yeah. Let's
and
do.
all that stuff, right?
Yeah. And do you wanna share this Marie book or no?
Oh, yes. Okay. So we were talking about the writer Nancy Marie Brown and how prolific she is at writing histories. And I found this book that was printed in um, 2007, and
Oh,
it's called The Far Traveler: Voyages of a Viking Woman. And guess which woman she's talking about?
Gudrid. Everybody's talking
Gudrid!
about Gudrid.
Gudrid! And she does a great job of, she actually kinda, I think we'd be good friends with her, but she
Yeah.
actually walked through all the different places Gudrid had been, and, so I think from her, I probably, and she does a good job of synthesizing the sagas, so she doesn't extrapolate, she doesn't, she's not silly with it, but she's
Mhm.
good at a good storyteller.
Mm, good.
Um, because if you read the sagas, it basically, the woman erasure happens to even Gudrid, the well-traveled. So once she gets back in Iceland or gets settled down, basically that's it. For most women just disappear off into the sunset. And the next thing you see is their gravestone with their epitaph of like what a wonderful woman she was. And
Right.
that's it.
Uh-huh.
Um, Gudrid at least has some sentences in the sagas about her life as a mother, whatever. But then she does something else, which is interesting later. So,
Yeah.
which is inspiring for empty nest women
Yes.
who
And
your name,
she's
yeah,
and she's interesting, like we've said a million times, that a lot of the saga wouldn't exist without her input, you know? So, like
right,
you're saying
right,
that she not only was she not removed from these sagas or sidelined totally, but it has to be her point of view or her perspective in some of the parts of it, which is cool, you know?
that's so true. That's so true.
But I do
Um,
like what you're saying too, that I do feel like I relate to her now. I relate to her all the way through, and then it's so cool to have a woman this far back that we relate to her as a young mother, as a new bride, as a young girl, and now we get to hear what she does as a crone, or, with
yeah, yeah.
so it's cool.
I mean,
She's
that's
so
a great
relatable.
it's such a great point, and she's such a good character for a saga or a hero's journey character because we've seen her you have the 3 fates, right? One's the maiden, one's the mother, one's the bitch
Crone.
or whatever, the crone.
I was listening to this, I think it's like the Ramsey Money Guy or something,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he's like, one of his terms is she's a test pilot for the broom factory or something like.
No, we she's a master at it. Get her in the
Yes.
cockpit. She could drive that broom.
Right, you think you're insulting, but whatever. So, yeah, yes, like the 3 phases of womanhood, the maiden, the mother, and then what you're saying. I
Yeah.
interrupted you.
Yeah, and very rarely do we get a historic woman figure who doesn't fade off into the
Mhm.
sunset, like our colonial women who maybe their maidenhood was lascivious, so that's the only reason we know about them.
Right.
Um, so it's
Right.
kind of incredible that for 1000 AD,
Right.
she
And she's surrounded by not boring men. I mean, she's married.
No.
Carl Snuffy has a whole manga comic book about him right now that's super popular, and he's Eric the Red and Leif
Mhm.
Erikson, and she's surrounded by big stories, and yet hers gets to shine through too, which
I
is
love that. That is such a good point. Yeah,
yeah.
I love
So
that. Um,
somebody took care of her, which I guess makes sense because as we'll talk about, the somebody who probably did take care of her story was maybe a great-grandson
mhm,
or great-great, yeah. So
mhm.
she was
Yeah.
handled with care. Yeah.
Yes, that's true. That's a good point. She was. She was. Um, so in the saga of the Greenlanders, this is what we get of Gudrid's life after. Um, it says Karlsefni now of course it's Karlsefni all by himself sailing across the sea.
Right, which is not. She's with him very much so.
We've discussed that.
Yeah.
Not only has she packed them for the 3-year journey, she's given them birth, and they're coming back with riches and goods. Um, but here he comes. He sailed across the sea, and his ship came to the land in the north, the Skaga Fjord, where he laid it up for the winter. In the spring, he brought the farm at Glambyrish. I tried to pronounce it.
Hey,
Glambyrish.
okay.
And built a house. He stayed there as long as he lived. He was a great man, and many fine people are descended from him and Gudrid. And when Karlsefni died, Gudrid took over the farming with her son Snorri, who had been born in Vinland. Um, so that's what we get from that saga. The other saga does give a little more, and sorry, we might need to edit this, but it gives a little more detail in the sense that it says the other one says the next summer Karlsefni sailed for Norway, and the
Mhm.
saga says never had a ship so full of riches left Greenland before. So obviously they had done their job. They had
Yeah.
probably had the barrels of stuff. What would they have been bringing
They would
back?
have had wood,
Any
tons of
Yeah,
wood, anything that they got from trading with the indigenous group. They would have
yeah.
had food, lots of food. They brought all those grapes back. They brought whatever type of wheat that was, self-sowing wheat. It would be interesting, we won't to look at the plant's life in Greenland versus North America. I mean, there's different ways, I guess, seeds would spread from birds and things like that too, but if
That would be
if there's
so
anything
cool.
growing there that was a Vinland original.
Yeah, for sure, because um, this Brown on
Okay,
her book
my new
in her
best friend.
page yeah, I think she's awesome. On page 193, she said Gudrid, Karlsefni, and their little son sailed from Vinland in midsummer after the ice went out, their ship laden with timber, furs, butternuts, and grapes crushed and fermenting in baleen strapped barrels or in leather bags. So cute detail,
I
just
know.
what you said. Um, So
I
this would
like
have
that she said that because some people are trying to argue that those weren't actually grapes that they found, that they were more of a berry or a
yeah,
and they're kinda trying to discredit it, but if they've got no, I they know they know their
they knew their
what the difference
liquor.
between a grape and a berry and, so
Yeah, yeah.
and
It's
if she's
not like
saying they're
it was peach
fermenting and crushed
schnapps or something.
yeah, that's right.
Um, yeah, and fermenting. So and the other, saga also does say that they sailed to Norway to the king,
Mhm.
and people were very impressed with what they had, the goods they had. So they essentially, Karlsefni and Gudrid did their Norse job, and they went and they traded, and they got the king's blessing in Norway, and then they headed back to Iceland.
Yeah.
I think they stopped. They I don't think they went back to Greenland after that. I think
I
they
don't
went
think
to
so either, and I don't know this, but I'm wondering if it's was it the same King Olaf, Leif's Olaf king that they or would that have been a different king?
I
That's too
get
hard of a question.
confused, but it's possibly yes,
But
because
either way, maybe with the, same errand of conversion Christian spreading Christianity as well.
yeah, and she would have gotten, and actually I do believe, and we can double check this when she leaves for her pilgrimage, but I think she parts of the moving parts of her pilgrimage have to do with the King of Norway and his
Oh,
venturing south. So I
okay,
think that was a connection that probably makes sense.
okay.
Um, so they're saying they get back to Iceland around 1010-ish. Um, and so do you know what happened to them when the first, her, well, I'll just say it I'll just sketch it out.
Okay.
So they get there. Um, they did sail back from Vinland with 3 ships, but 2 of these ships didn't make it,
They
had
had
right?
worms, like water worms or something, and
Yes.
then the Bjarni guy had to give his life for the younger guy. That's a weird
Yeah.
part of the saga. I can't imagine what unless they had been there for 3 years and the bottom of their boats did rot out or something, barnacles or something. I don't know.
That's yeah, that's possible.
But that was
But
the scary part.
yeah, yeah. So that was lucky. So again, there's her little bit of her land spirits and her water spirits and her
Mhm.
ocean spirits, um, getting her there. Um, she said they went to Karlsefni's childhood home, and it's near,
It's the
and
top of Iceland,
okay,
right?
yeah.
And it's, oh, I can't read it from here, but it's the,
Oh,
like, middle top of Iceland. Sorry, cat butt.
yes. And so, well, okay, so let me just to make sure we're giving can we edit
Mhm,
the
for
pause
sure.
out?
Yeah.
So I did get an answer on the king that was there. Um, this is again from Brown, who just wrote it. I think she just wrote it so clearly. 195, she said, in Norway, Gudrid and Karlsefni were made much of, the saga says. Who hosted them, who heard the news of the land and the people of the West. There were 2 brothers sharing kingship from 1000 to 1015. Olaf Tryggvason, Olaf the Fat. Um, so it sounds like the same guy, Olaf
Mhm.
Tryggvason. Um,
Mhm.
but then there's no further mention of Vinland. Um, the discovery and settlement of the New World 1,000 years ago had absolutely no effect on the Old World, Brown
Isn't
conjectures.
that interesting? And if one of the sagas does say that they took 2 of the indigenous boys, it's the on,
Oh,
Nova
yeah.
Scotia, there's a tribe, the Mi'kmaqy, which that's who they're saying were the more and then the other tribe that they probably met it doesn't exist anymore, but they took 2 of the boys from the tribe and learned about they were taught about these boys taught them about this culture, and maybe they told them enough scary things or
Mm.
to make them not make people fearful of it, it became this but
Oh,
then why wouldn't that translate into 300 years later with Columbus's story of not knowing there was land there or
I mean, do you think it's possible that, um, because everyone was so euphoric about Christianity now, that because it was pagan, they are like, "Oh, there's no hope." Like, they're so
maybe
big on converting people that that's why they
maybe that they're hopeless. The other, like, if you wanna go woo-woo, spooky, or conspiracy is the theory that we've lost 300 years of our calendar time, which would actually make sense. So, really, we're living in the year 1720.
I've never heard this.
Oh,
Explain it.
I can't
I
explain it
can't
very
even
well,
tell you what day it is today. So, yeah,
but there's
explain.
a theory out there that they had added 300 years somewhere in the Julian calendar, when all the calendars were getting redone, they added 300 years somehow. So that would mean that if you
In the Norse tradition or in our Western
your
calendar?
local conspiracy dude will tell you that. So I don't know.
Okay.
So, but it makes sense for a couple of reasons, and this is another one that it would make sense for. It makes sense for archaeology, I mean, what's the word? Buildings and not archaeology.
Oh,
When you
engineering? Oh, architect.
yes, right. Cathedrals and things like that, and that they say, and then also, I guess it would make sense if Columbus and the Vikings were doing the same thing at the same time then, if you took the 300 years.
Oh,
I don't know.
like a time warp, like a time fold?
Well, not even that weird, just if 1492 minus 3 would be maybe that's not quite right, but if you could make this Vinland exploration match Columbus's exploration, then that would explain why Spain and Columbus and Italy and all this pretty evolved European culture didn't know about Vinland. Like, they had 300 years to communicate with the Norse people that there is land over there.
Yeah.
So when Columbus got on his boat, why was he so surprised that he bumped into land over there, trying to get to India? Unless we were told the wrong thing in school, I don't know. Okay,
Well,
blah, blah,
unless he
blah.
was
That's
just
a
an
weird
idiot, but
tangent.
you could also think about it in a cynical way, like, um,
They didn't want to.
they had nothing. What's in it for them? So in
Yeah.
Portugal, obviously, they're looking for riches anywhere. What's in
And they
it
were
for the Norwegians? Maybe nothing.
right. Or Norwegians kept it a secret as
Or
their back
yeah,
pocket, maybe.
yeah.
Or they were probably super freaked out by the people there.
Maybe
Because
they felt like
eventually
they failed because that whole they ran away.
they did run away.
Maybe it wasn't an honorable story to tell.
No, and the Freitas thing makes it really bad.
Yeah,
And then, eventually Greenland is turned back over to its indigenous people for what and I can't imagine it was a friendly turnover, so
that was a fail and a lot of
that was a
people
failure.
say that was a failed,
Mhm.
um, whether it was because of weather changes or
Right.
stuff, but
Or there are there were tribes there, or like we keep saying that
Mhm,
but there were tribes there,
mhm,
um, who left and then came back, and then they're the ones that are there even to this
mhm.
day, but the Dorset I can't remember. I have it.
So, I mean, it's possible they may have gained all the wealth, but you're saying, they probably are like, "That's just not
Not
a."
worth it. And maybe that's the
Mhm.
word that spread throughout Europe, like, yeah, but then why would they be so clueless? I don't know, whatever. I don't know. So anyway, that's a theory. And
I
then
mean,
there's
you
more of that
worry.
theory, like, that I don't know, then you get really crazy with that theory. If that's true, then, whatever. I don't know.
What?
Then you get into, like, different prophecies and things maybe already happened and blah, blah, blah. So
I like your blah, blah, blahs.
yada, yada,
I'm still
yada.
trying
It's
to wrap
another
my head around,
podcast.
like, I mean, that's possible there was a wrinkle in time or whatever.
Or just a calendar mishap. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, I mean, Iceland had that same issue where they were losing, in their calendar, it didn't account for half a day and so they always in their things, they had to keep readjusting for
Yeah.
that, so.
The Protestants, didn't they have that too? Our pilgrim
Oh, yeah, they
people?
did. They had a weird. You're right, there just wasn't a regulated way of
Yeah.
keeping time, so yeah, yeah.
So losing 3 to 400 years is a big deal, but anyway, that's a tangent.
But I do like your question about why wasn't how did that slip away? And part of
Yeah,
me maybe is thinking it wasn't an honorable adventure.
right. Maybe they were, maybe let's give them credit. Maybe these are the white settlers that didn't wanna go kick people off their land and, you know.
I don't know, they brought 2 boys back with them, so
That's true. That's true.
I don't know how moral,
I
but it
know.
is interesting. Yeah, it's so interesting. So, okay, so
Okay.
then Karl Karlsefni's bringing Gudrid, their little baby. They've had a success. They are just the young couple that's a great story, right? And so now
Mhm.
they're gonna move back to Iceland, um, and they for Karlsefni, he came home. Um, but they said that the reception when they returned home was not good because
It's
Karlsefni's
Moan.
haughty mother would not have Gudrid in her house that first
Mhm.
winter. In her opinion, Karlsefni had not married well.
So why? She's a Christian. She's a Oh, maybe it was the Eric the Red
Well,
connection. Because Iceland, the mom would have known all about Eric the Red,
yes,
and
yes,
her dad too. Gudrid's
but
dad was kind of a scoundrel in their mind.
he did, yeah, he up and left. And I think, and Brown conjectures it's the Vil
Oh, still
Weifel
that?
thing, that she's the daughter of a slave still, no matter what. It doesn't matter
She's
how
a
many
great
adventures she took.
she's the great-granddaughter of a slave, right?
Yeah,
Or
she's the, um,
granddaughter of a slave.
granddaughter of a slave. But so we're circling back here. We come back to Iceland, and isn't it weird how you can never go home? Like your old stories still live,
Yeah,
and no matter what she's accomplished.
because
Um,
his Karlsefni's mom was probably the way he was descended from Odd. So
yeah,
it's Odd's slave that her son just married.
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. So it's a good, don't be that mother-in-law that
Yeah,
lives in the sagas as a haughty mother.
right, and like you're
Um,
saying, your story travel goes with you.
yeah,
So what can you do, I guess, but
and, um yeah. So it is interesting. So she had to deal with that, which I'm sure she dealt with worse. She'd been with Freitas for 3 years on an
right,
island. She could do
right.
whatever. And, and then the other version of the saga just says that they laid up their ship for the winter, and then he bought, Glenbayern. I'm trying to say it.
Get my
Glenbayish farm. Let's see. And Brown states, that Karlsefni, this farm would stay in the family until it was given to the Christian church in 1295. And it was
Mhm.
given to the church by Gudrid's 7 greats granddaughter, Halbera, who became abbess of the nunnery established there. Um, which is cute.
Yeah, that's it.
So yes, so the farm let's see. Okay. Do you have anything to add on that?
I just think, I don't know how full circle we're going, but yeah, so he built her a her son built her a chapel. So Carl Snefney kind of just went back there to live out his life. She
Yeah.
she eventually will live her life out, but she's not done living, you know?
No. She only has 2 children, which, 2 sons, which is interesting for that time period, and some people say, well, Carl's we don't know when or how Carl Sefni dies,
Yeah.
but we do know that he it doesn't seem like he raised the kids to their full ages.
And do you think that he continued being the merchant and traveling, or do you think they were set
I get the feeling they were set.
after their
I get the
after
feeling they
Norway?
settled down,
Mhm.
because there's one place, that it's another saga that's Grettir's saga
Mhm.
that mentions someone coming to their farm in Glenbower and calling it the Farm of Merry Noise.
Oh, I love
And,
that. A happy farm?
um, yes, he said, I guess 2 children met this guy at the gate, and it was a happy farm, a nice farm. So that's a third party witness saying
Cool.
her life wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Um, so I think it's kinda cool that we kinda know she got that moment. And so in 2005, apparently, which I didn't know about, but this Brown talks about, this must be her episode.
Yeah.
They excavated the house, on this farm that Gudrid would have raised her kids
That's
in.
so
Um,
cool.
yes, and they found spinning whorls, all different weights in it. Um, and so anyway, so we
That's so
know that
cool.
she lived her life, she kept on spinning, she raised some good kids, and that's what she did for a while.
Which
That was her season.
yeah, and that lends, so the question of, again, critics or whatever wanna say that in Lonzo Meadows, the spinning whorls and the stones that were found could have been fishing net stones and like, "Oh, there weren't women here, and this is blah, blah, blah." But all they have to do is compare the 2, and I think they did. I think they eventually discounted that critique or whatever.
No, but that's good of you to bring up because I was just reading about that the other night, that how the whorls are weights
Oh.
essentially. And so there can be tiny ones based on whatever yarn you've spun or really heavy, big ones. And so for years, they were worried they were throwing away these little ones, thinking they were beads, when in fact they're
Oh.
spinning whorls. And so it's
Oh.
like this incredibly intricate, they would have had all different weights.
Yeah.
Um, so
Cool.
yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, she apparently from this excavation, they had a full-on weaving house with all the weights
Mhm.
and the little fire in the corner, and, so she just carried on doing
Yeah.
her thing. Um
Raising her kids, raising her 2 teenagers,
Mhm,
getting along with the
and
mother-in-law, going hardcore on her Christianity worship,
yeah,
and
which
then
by the time they got back, the Christianity was full-blown happening.
yeah.
Um, let's see, um, sorry, I don't
Are
know
you
what to
looking up
say.
about the Christianity?
I was looking up about what her Christianity would look like, but I don't know if we
Oh,
care at
interesting.
this point.
Well, I did read somewhere that there wasn't
Um,
an official, so she did obviously, after he died and she goes on her pilgrimage, like we talked about in the very beginning, her son built her a chapel on that land, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so and that is when she became the anchoress, where the little room on the side. So her Christianity, even though it was so devout and established, there wasn't the kitty's on my paper, but it wasn't until, like, 100 years later that they actually got an actual practicing, officially part of the church, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it was
Yeah.
an outpost for all those years until way
Yeah.
later. Okay.
So I wondered what
So what does that look like?
so baptism was the central sacrament. So you were
Mhm.
baptized, that marked you as a Christian. Beyond that, formal religious life was thin. There were no this one source says there's no church bells calling people to church. There were no, um, libraries of theology, no confession, no bishop in residence. The church in Iceland, according to this source, was organized around local chieftains and their households, really a lot like how the pagan
Yeah, very
things
much.
were
Mhm.
done. Um, the decentralized structure allowed Norse converts to maintain a sense of independence and self-reliance. Prayer and personal piety would have been largely self-directed, which seems to fit Gudrid.
Yeah.
So she's kind of just able to we know she's in touch with the spirits and the spirit world, whatever
Yeah.
realm that is, and so she must have still been communicating that way. Um,
Do you
pagan
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Well, I'm just thinking, like, her travel to Rome then maybe readjusted some things in her mind that made her come back. Okay, so yeah, go ahead. This
Yeah,
is
it is
interesting.
interesting because that, and next time we will talk about her pilgrimage, so,
Oh, you
you
don't wanna
know,
do it this time?
I'm not ready, are you?
Oh, okay. No.
Are you totally ready?
No, to talk about her pilgrimage?
No.
Okay.
Oh, that's why it probably seems like I'm, like, going super slow.
I just that's what I we were
Well, then let's do it.
If
Why
you're
not?
ready.
Yeah, why
I
not?
don't know much about it.
Well, you can do it.
I don't know much about it. Her pilgrimage, I don't know the detail of it. I know that there's not much known about it, so it's not for not trying, but
Yeah.
we kinda talked about what she would have been wearing, and there were speculation that she would have been very obviously a Viking woman,
Mhm,
dressed the way she's dressed.
mhm.
Stop me because you know more than this, but she didn't go by herself. We think she had people that went with her, possibly her
Yeah.
son.
I mean, if we're ready to do it, I could probably do it with you. Um,
Mine's a very rough, but I don't know, we've
but
been
finish
talking
what
for
you wanna say. You kind of put your what you wanna say.
I think that it's interesting the way that the Christian church was practiced in Iceland, um, and then how slow it took because Iceland was full by then. Really, it was hard to get land, right? So
Uh-huh,
it's not like
mhm.
there wasn't the population to have a diocese or have it
Right.
become officially. So, like you're saying, maybe it was just I don't know. I can't speculate too much on it. But if you wanna do her pilgrimage, do you feel like it deserves a whole episode?
Um, it's pretty cool because then we could wrap in, but let's try not. Let's see if we can do fine without it, you know what I mean? I
What do
guess
you
I do
mean?
know some things, that it was I was worried about her because her grandkids are growing up and she hands over the farm to her son Snorri and says, "I'm going on a pilgrimage." And I looked up I have the maps and stuff of where she went. It was usually like a group trip,
Okay, yeah, like a tour.
and at about that same time, let's see, I have it. Well, and there are some sources that talk about how the Norse would have done the trip, but it really was a group adventure. Um,
Do you think it was,
And
affiliated with the King Olaf?
I believe in my
Or would
mind,
that have been too far away?
I think it was because for a few reasons, and I'm not sure if I have the sources, but I'm gonna just do it off the top of my head.
Okay, if
But,
this doesn't do it justice, we can re-record it
because
later.
there are some firsthand sources of a woman named Estrid who did her pilgrimage and kinda talked about it. But, yes, about that time, the king what you had to do and a pilgrimage, you kinda went on one to secure your if you wanted a promotion in the church or if you wanted a title
Oh.
or if you wanted some kinda commendation. So even for a woman, maybe for Iceland and so you came back to Iceland.
Sorry.
I'm doing it too. So you came back to Iceland. When she came back, she was actually an abbess or an anchoress. She had a title.
Oh,
She
so
had
almost like it was a training trip.
yes, and almost like a conference of authority in some sense. So that's why the kings would go down there too. So and that's why sometimes people would change their names coming back because they were changed.
So there's some kind of ritual thing that happened, well,
Yeah,
anointing or
some reason why, and I think the pilgrimage then enabled her sons to become all the bishops.
Oh,
And then
interesting.
yes. So, I think
Oh,
her doing that I think she was creating a legacy for her children, like, not chieftains anymore because 'cause you're not pagan, but they are,
yes.
you know,
'Cause it's through her
legitimized.
sons her 2 sons have 2 daughters, and those 2 daughters have 2 sons, and those are the sons that become the bishops.
Okay.
And so that is, um, why it took so long for that to happen. I guess the church had to get up, but she was the tool, she was the brought the
She
mantle back
I
kinda
think
thing.
she earned the street cred because
Uh-huh.
typically a pilgrimage would take 3 years.
Oh.
Um, and but the journey that this particular king went on, and you can look it up, but, the reason I found it is because in there's a church near the Baltics where as the pilgrims would go, they had a set, you know, itinerary. They'd stay at nunneries, but there's one document that sort of lists all the groups of, pilgrimage people that
Wow.
stayed, at this monastery, and so you keep see the and so Gudrid's name is not on there, but the pronunciation is there's close enough, Gudrun,
Mhm.
Gud da da da, with King Olaf's party at that same period of time that has me think that
Wow.
she kind of went with them, and the other fact that we hear in sources or things like that, thoughts that maybe Gudrid met the Pope, maybe
Right.
and so the only way I think she would have is if
Right.
she was with the king,
Right.
and that's how she came back, so she wasn't just she was the anchoress, when she came back to Iceland or whatever priesthood a woman could hold,
Mhm.
and then that got,
The ball
transferred.
rolling. Do you think Carl Snuffy went with her?
I
Or was
don't
he
think
dead by
so.
then?
I think he must have been dead because it really when a woman went, it was almost like doing your vows as a nun. You were changing your life.
Oh,
This
okay.
pilgrimage would cleanse you in a sense. It was like a big honkin'
Okay.
deal. Um,
Look how much you know, just off
I
the cuff.
know! I was so worried about her, though.
You
I'm like,
know
"Oh,
this, you
man,
got it.
she if I was her, I'd wanna make sure I was for sure with the king, or for sure,
Yeah.
like, we were having the 4-star tour versus the,
So
like,
she
crawling on your belly tour."
Yes, right. So she probably went to Norway or met up with them somewhere and
Yeah,
then walked or whatever,
yeah.
rode down to Rome.
And it would have taken quite a long time, and they would have stated so she would have learned a lot
Mhm.
about this faith and this culture, and, she would have gone through the Balkans, she would have, seen all these civilizations, and so, you
At a
know,
really crazy time.
planes, trains, and automobiles and things revolutions happening. I mean, what I kinda wanna do is see if what other grandmothers she met coming down
Yes.
during that would be cool.
The route, yeah.
Yeah. But so I just wonder about, like, I don't know, it'd be cool to leave after raising your kids and you're no one wants the mother hanging around, and there she goes, and she comes back when she returns. Obviously, she's proven that mother-in-law wrong. She's,
Right.
she's obviously in this new world of this new power, Christianity, she's got a piece of it. And so I just think that's so interesting that she
Yeah.
did that.
And, I'm trying to think of, like, the seasons, the warmth of it, the temperature of it, the struggle. I mean, the whole journey itself would have been fascinating. It's the things that they would
Yes.
have run into. They were crossing, uh,
Um,
conflict zones, right?
yes.
Charlemagne was made king in 1000. When was he? Kitty's on my
Let's
paper.
see.
But all that was happening with the Burgundy, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we could go through what was going on. This one, so the historical records
Let me get it.
confirm that Viking women did travel to this Reichenau Abbey. It's in southern Germany, located on Lake Constance. In the Benedictine monastery's surviving guest books, they register hundreds of Scandinavian pilgrims, including notable Viking women. Um, let's see. Estrid, a lady named Estrid is one of the most famous. She went with the monastery with her husband, um, and they found, let's see, they journeyed along the ancient European pilgrimage road, um, and it was an important stopover. They traveled quite a bit on the old Roman roads, obviously,
Okay.
and they tried to stick to, I mean, it was all like the ultimate old person tour.
Yeah.
So
And then we don't know what year it would have been, but the whole Battle of Hastings and the Norman I mean, it was just a really ex exciting time to be doing this.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the end of what some people say, well, this is the end of the Viking
Yeah.
era. So all these famous places, maybe Carl Sefni had told her about the trading things, were winding down. So she's kind of seeing, you don't know how they were receptive people
Mhm.
were to the Scandinavians. Um, and so, I mean, it just would have been that's worth a whole book or a whole adventure,
Yeah.
just that whole idea of the pilgrimage. But I
Right.
guess what stuck out for me was she didn't stop traveling, and the fact that just what we hit upon, she did secure she's a reckoning woman, so she did secure, a legacy other than being the granddaughter of a slave that could attach itself to her sons. So, I think what I love about it is you can find Gudrid through the dot and the granddaughters that became the abbess of the nunnery, and they kinda carried her this
Yeah.
personality we followed through, and as a woman, it's very rare, unless you're a queen, to have a legacy that comes back to you based on your acts alone.
Yes, right. Well said. It
So
Yeah, I mean, in a way, she's like a Icelandic royalty, I guess you could say. There weren't any kings or queens or prominent people in Iceland, really. It was groups and So this was, it's just so unique how it we're all worked out up there, and to have her be the prominent establishment of Christianity in Iceland, right? The first church, the first and then she ends up in her room with a window, you know?
She's the anchoress, and
Mhm,
all the prophecies, whether they were pagan or Christian, were true.
mhm.
And she, as that anchoress, you kinda live and the pilgrimage did it too. You're setting yourself aside from the community, apart from it. But really, she's on her beautiful farm, she's got her grandkids around, she's available to speak if anyone wants
Right,
to listen to her,
right.
which, obviously some people did, or we wouldn't have her whole life showing up at least somewhere on these
Mhm.
sources, which is a remarkable feat as a woman when we're talking about on this podcast trying to thread out the little whispers of these lives that were lived, and that she lives pretty loudly for 1000 AD, I think.
Yeah.
Um,
On
and I
her own, you
yeah,
know, it didn't take any people have discovered her and gone with that, but her story itself, you don't have to create energy for it. It's the story itself has energy. Does that make sense?
yes. I mean, I just think we've done what and how many 11 episodes now
Mhm.
of her?
12, this is the 12th one.
12 episodes of one woman who
Mhm.
we got to meet as a young maiden with a mind of her own, and get to say goodbye to with still her life's bubbling up through all the dirt and the archaeological
Yeah.
digs um and you get a kind of a sense of who she was, and you
Mhm,
don't hear anything bubbling up bad, which is very rare.
mhm.
Like, you don't hear like, her poor mother-in-law, usually the bad outlives the good, and so this mother-in-law, however wonderful she of Karl Sepsny's mom, she's known as the haughty mother, right?
Right,
The
right.
mean
That's her one
mother-in-law.
little blip of history is that she didn't like
Yes,
her daughter-in-law at first.
which is scary because 'cause you're like,
I
"Man,
know.
what blip when I lost my mind and I wanted a Diet Coke and I was grumpy, is that
Yes.
who
My
I'm gonna be?"
legacy? Yeah.
Yeah, but
It
Gudrid doesn't. It seems like in everywhere you see her, and this could be like you're saying, that her posterity, the Christian guys are the one writing
right. So
every instance.
Snorri, our Snorri guy, famous Snorri Snorgolsson,
Yeah,
was her great-great that's he's a descendant from her, and he's the one who wrote the didn't he translate or wrote the, many of the
he
sagas?
collected them. He felt
Mhm.
he was a keeper of the story, yeah, for
Yeah, even
sure.
the Prose Edda and,
Mhm,
Poetic Edda
mhm.
are so and he's her descendant, so yes, he would have taken care of, but there's people that in these sagas that Snorri would have been related to also and he didn't take care of.
Right,
So
right, right.
but he did kinda honor her, and the story is, there's no room in it really for her to be a villain or to have done a bad thing.
Man, there's a lot of room if I were Gudrid to be bitchy, though. Like, and you just don't see it. Like, here she is on a ship
Okay.
and having a baby in America
Yeah. Having the
and
bull interrupt you when you're making some great contact with the
yeah, or you're
indigenous chick.
15 and people are dying on your ship and, you're some wiener kid wants to propose and her dad
Yeah,
moves everybody away and,
and
there's
you
a
may
lot
or
of
may not have
room.
had a
Yeah,
lover, and then,
yeah, and widowed 3 times.
widowed 3 times, and some people will say Freydis is a fictional character, so maybe she's Freydis.
Oh, some people have talked about
Maybe
that
that's her
idea.
little bad story.
the 2 faces, like the black and the white. So maybe that is maybe, you kinda want her to have a good meltdown at some point
Yeah,
because she's doing super hard
I
things.
know.
And even going to on a pilgrimage, like, there's a point where you just want a hot bath and a good dinner, and you don't wanna be pious, you wanna
Right,
just
right. And she's hanging out with very big personalities, and she's holding her own and going back. That means she knew how to banter, she could
Yes,
get a joke, she could probably throw a joke back. I mean, she's
that's
a little
true.
weak woman in a corner with these big Viking men, doesn't get her own isn't get part of 2 sagas, you know?
You're right, and doesn't survive multiple doesn't no one and people want her on their ship again,
Right.
which means she could handle her shiat, she could
Yeah,
handle
or
her
ship.
weapons and she could handle her ship, and she kept her ship together.
Right. And that she, there are other women on these boats. There's other women doing
Yeah,
this voyage and having this and we don't know who they are, and
mm-mm,
so she's just as big of a personality as these people she's hanging out with
you're
too,
right,
you know?
she did hold her own, she
So
could
to
hold
end
her
up
own.
being so pious and living in a she still had to have had her personality and her you
Yeah,
know?
I just think she is truly, like, the perfect person for a hero's tale, she
Yeah.
and, um and then I think about all these women in history that we read about or whatever that got trapped into their life, like, you get told what you are, "I'm an Irish peasant woman, and that's what I am," and she kinda lived outside the colors or the borders of her own life and
Mhm.
her own time, and, it's not like she
Totally.
was trying to be fancy. I mean, she just was not
Yeah.
bound by the story she started with, which
Mhm.
is what we all hope for, I think, that we can sorta trans you know, transgress our bounds a little bit, and
Yeah, and she was not born an elite. She didn't hang out with the elite.
she wasn't even educated as far as
Mm-mm.
we know,
Probably not. Maybe.
just in
Probably not.
pagan ways.
You're right. And, yeah, she's traveling with kings, she's maybe meeting the pope, she's getting her happy ending, her story is like, "Okay, one more elite person's great biography," or whatever,
Yeah,
but
that's true,
she's not.
yeah,
She's the slave daughter, and she's the
yeah,
widow girl, and she's a shipwreck, and she's got dead husbands all over the place, and so it just shows, like you're saying, that she is the epitome of a Viking pushing the boundaries,
yeah,
changing the story, changing the she had I don't know. She's just so perfectly a Viking woman.
yeah. Yeah, I think she's the best at out of all these women we've looked at, and there are a lot of amazing ones that we can talk
Mhm,
about or whatever, but I think
mhm,
the reason we slowed down a little bit and followed her in every life station is because um I don't know how she did it, and I don't know why more people aren't interested in her.
I know.
And what I love about it too is her artifacts are not gold in both places, in
Right.
Canada and in Iceland and in Greenland. She kept working, like, she kept her
Kept so
spinning work.
making those sails.
Yeah, she just kept weaving and working and, you know, doing, managing her ship,
Yeah.
and yet she had some time for what she thought or caretaking her own spirit or, whatever she felt her calling on earth was.
Yes.
So I wish
Um,
I'd love to meet her and go to dinner with her and maybe this Denise Brown. I think we or Nancy Brown. I think
Nancy
we'd have a
Marie
fun
Brown, is it
time.
Marie Brown? Because we fell in love with our Heather Pringle girl.
Yes.
women and Neil Price,
Yes.
and it's just fun to learn to get connected
Yeah.
to people through their writings and the similar interests. Yeah, she would be cool
So
too.
that's what, even for our listeners, we're trying to help these women live louder in history and learn from them. And I learned a lot from Gudrid, I feel like.
Oh, yeah. I had my Gudrid moment in my
Mhm.
personal life with her.
Mhm.
She really was a tour guide through this time. When you think you're gonna sit down and learn about the Viking age, and then
Mhm.
you realize, "Oh, well, I need to know about the pantheon of their gods, and I need to know about this ritual, and I need to" What? They went to Russia? And just she was the safe
Oh,
tour guide of venture out, go I mean, we've been reading about her since December now, and it's
yeah.
June,
She
and
was a wonderful seer.
yeah, she was. Yeah, she is. Yeah,
Mhm.
and so much that I mean, I feel like I have gotten in tune with, uh, the Norse, not religion, but the Norse side
Tradition.
of me and the figuring out what speaks to me, these runes, and I would have never, then maybe she'd be bummed, she'd probably want me to be Christian, but or go to mass or something, but
Well, some of our grandmothers did that, so they did it
yes,
for
that's
us.
right. But to have been able she was just to engage in this historic world,
Yeah.
she was what we needed to be able to do this, you know,
Yeah.
because it
And
was
I do,
overwhelming at first.
I mean, I think about her because, I'm a news crazy lady, and
Mhm.
watching this world that we're in right now, even thinking about her being a reckoning woman and dealing with all the changes she dealt with, and how just thinking about there's a different way to do it than be reactionary, when just do your thing. Just go where you're called and do your thing, kinda.
Yeah, and be
I
who
don't
you
know.
are wherever you're going.
Yeah.
Be open to change, obviously, she had big changes, and kinda being your own best friend throughout it all, and,
Yeah.
I mean,
She needs her own manga.
she
She needs,
does.
like, to be the with the boobs that are way out there, and, like, she'd probably have the flowing hair.
I know, she's fascinating.
But,
So but
yeah.
yay, we love her, and we're
Yeah,
grateful for
and
her.
I love the way you said that she is the best tour guide I think we coulda
Mhm.
had for 1000 AD.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you all for listening. We will be back with more people,
Yeah,
right?
for sure, I think as our idea is to now focus woman by woman by woman, try that
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
'Cause this was like, "Oh, learn this whole world and study these maps," and which was awesome, but I feel
yeah,
like and we love that we got to know Gudrid, and maybe we had a couple of our other women here and there, but
mhm.
are we trying to get more woman, woman, woman? Every
Yeah,
episode is a different
I
woman.
think so. I think we can pick up the pace now, and we're
Yeah.
comfortable speaking. We can talk Thai or talk pagan or talk
Yeah,
Christian,
alright.
whatever, or Slovenian. We can get in
Yes!
there.
We need to get over there and
Get over
get
to
down
our
and dirty.
babas.
Mhm, we
Yeah.
do. Yeah, so
Okay, well, thank you for sharing, and any comments or any stories you want us to tell, we're happy to do,
yeah.
and it's
Oh,
been,
that's perfect because we could have someone else's person we could talk about
yeah, we
in
would
an episode.
totally love if
We're
you've got
ready
a
for that.
grandmother, we are
Yes,
ready for
we're
her.
ready to do that.
Mhm. Okay.
Alright.
All right.
Yay! Well,
Love
thank you.
you. We did
Love
it.
you.
Okay.
Okay.
I hate to say goodbye to Gudrid, but
Maybe
she'll
we
be
don't
with
have
us.
to.
She's with us. She travels. She's portable.
She's portable. She'll come with us to these other ladies.
Yes. Okay, good.
I know, I'm kinda sad.
I am too.
Were we thinking we were being done with her today?
No, I don't think I was ready. I think we needed to be done, but I
This is an
couldn't do
Irish
it.
goodbye for Gudrid.
Yeah. I'm good at Irish goodbyes.
Okay, me
Okay.
too. Alright.
See ya.
See ya.
Okay, bye.
Bye.